This is Megan testing. Megan
Testing.
Don't lean forward. Just sit like you normally are.
Are you recording?
You'll have to fight for it. Prepare for battle.
Welcome to Rate Your Pain 1 to 10. Today is a very special guest, and I may be biased on that because she is my wife, Megan.
Hi.
So a lot of people have been talking about this lately, and I've been meaning to do this episode as it is, but I feel like it's something I need to make sooner because of all the people out there talking about it, and it seems very common right now. So having a disability and having a relationship, it's a very hard thing to juggle on both ends. So I have Megan here to basically give her perspective of when I became disabled and how her life changed too, because my life changed dramatically, but so did hers right along with it. So let's get started. So let's start with when my accident first happened. Why don't you tell us how your life changed and the new things you had to do on a regular basis, like your new daily chores, because I was bedridden and you had to take over on life altogether. So
On everything.
So yeah, you did. So tell everybody what, from your perspective, what it was like.
All right. So literally overnight, I feel like my life changed just as much as it did for you, really. So at the time we had a puppy, which takes a lot of work in itself.
I forgot about that. She was a puppy.
So
a big puppy.
Yeah. So letting her out, making sure that you had a lunch packed for the day in an ice chest with drinks. I mean,
when
you were
went to work,
yeah, when I went to work, because you were bedridden at that point and really couldn't do anything for yourself.
No, I couldn't even get out of bed at all. So when she left for work, that's where I was for the day, because if I got out of bed, I needed her to help me for the most part, because for the first 3 weeks I was in an external fixation device, which I've told you guys about. You've seen the pictures, and moving with that was very hard. When I was by myself, I literally picked up the frame to move my leg. I didn't move my leg with its own muscles because I couldn't. So anyways.
Which is interesting that didn't really hurt you that much, picking it up with the external fixation device, because if any little touch to your skin at that point sent you over the roof, because that was another thing I had to do, was change your dressings on your leg and clean the wounds, really.
Right.
The
external fixation device was going straight into my bones. So most of the RSD pain I was feeling was external, like on my skin. So I think that's probably why it didn't hurt as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So anyways, packing a lunch, making sure the dog was taken care of, making sure he had his meds, changing his urinals.
True.
And then going to work and just pushing through the entire day, talking to all of my clients, and then coming home and taking the dog out, making sure dinner was taken care of. Again, your urinals, making sure those were okay. Well, I mean, it's reality, you know.
No, say it. Say it. I'm not embarrassed. It's real. That's what we need to hear.
On top of things having to do for you, but regular house chores, dishes, laundry, cleaning up. It was a lot, but I mean, we did it.
Okay, so you have all that you're doing at home for me, taking care of me. You have all that stress going on, dealing with the dog. What about your work? Because I know your job is, I know you love your job, and you have an amazing one that you've had for 16 years now? She's an amazing hairstylist, by the way.
I mean,
anybody local that wants to go. But for real, I used to be a bartender. That's what I was going to culinary school and bartending when I was in my accident. But what I'm getting at is, being a bartender, I'm sure everyone knows this about bartenders, that they're kind of like a therapist in a way. Like, people go to the bar and they talk and they tell everything about them. Being a hairstylist, from what I've heard from her, is kind of similar. Like, people talk and they tell their problems. So
They do. So, yeah, being a hairstylist is definitely just like being a therapist, but it's fun and I really enjoy it. That's why I've been at the same job for so long. But I think when people come in, they want to feel good. They want to have a good experience. They want to leave looking really good. So it's up to you to put on that happy face and make them feel good and boost them up and listen to everything that they have to say. And so in that time, it was kind of difficult because here behind the scenes, you know, our life had completely changed.
it was just in shambles.
And it was in chaos and there was a lot going on, but yet you kind of have to put on, not a show, but you definitely want to be that positive go-lucky person
Like
at
a
work
light
too.
switch.
So yeah, exactly.
Switch on the happy mood. And, yeah.
So, yeah, it was exhausting, but it kind of kept my mind off of things too, to kind of have that thing to look forward to so that it wasn't always so negative. So it was kind of a good balance. I think in the moment it was really difficult, but looking back, I'm thankful for it.
Yeah. Well, it's
So-
kind of like what me and Alan were just talking about in the last couple interviews, where keeping yourself busy, it goes both ways, I guess, you know. I mean,
Totally.
because for us, we got to keep busy and not let our mind always be dwelling on the pain. And I guess you have to do the same.
For me, it was totally the same because I was at work, I was busy, I came home, I had to deal with the dog, I had to deal with the laundry, I had to deal with helping you. So it was constantly making me so busy that I didn't have time to sit and think, what the hell is going on?
It was like a second life
Yeah.
almost. So why don't you tell us about some of the things you did to cope? Like, how did you deal with, you know, because I know it was stressful, like we have been constantly saying, right? It's stressful for you. What did you do? Tell us some of the things you did to escape that reality, aside from work, because I
Yeah.
know you had to, everyone has to escape work too. So what did you do to cope?
So it's going to sound so funny, but honestly, taking the dog to the dog park every single day
That
was my
sounds
outlet.
Awesome to me, but
Because I was forced to do it. You know, she needed to get out and I can go get away from everyone and be around happy dogs and not have to really talk much and just, I mean, it helps that we lived in such a beautiful area, like completely surrounded by the redwoods. So it was peaceful. And that was my 1 hour to just decompress.
decompress,
Yeah.
right?
So that was what I did. And then also I had to take time out for self-care for myself. It sounds so like diva-ish, but I would go and get my facials, you know, like once a month, once every 2 months. I had to take that time out to like, and I'm so thankful that I had Jennifer at the time to kind of help me through that too, because she would just help me relax and take care of myself. You know, that 1 hour, you know, a month to myself helped.
Well, and it doesn't sound diva-ish or lame. Like, you're a woman and you need to pamper yourself. Women like to feel good, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
and you gotta stay beautiful. So,
Yeah, that helps too.
oh boy. So, Megan, tough question here.
okay.
Probably not for you, but I'm scared to hear it.
Oh God.
What was the hardest thing? What was the hardest part for you? What was just the absolute worst thing you could think of through it all?
Well, I mean, obviously the number one thing that was the hardest was always seeing you in pain and it being completely out of my control. That's like the obvious.
That's, yeah.
But this part for me was really hard, I think mentally, because with my job, of course, I see so many people a day. And the first thing they say is, hey, you know, how's Jack doing? What's going on? Tell me what the updates are. How is he doing? Is he getting any better? So, which was good to have that support from, you know, family, friends, clients, coworkers. But at the same time, I was a robot and I had to repeat the same answer over and over and over to everyone. Like I said, like, you know, neighbors, family, friends, clients. So I think in that part, I kind of was starting to lose myself. Like, how I don't know, like, who am I? I'm just a robot. I'm just saying the same thing over and over and doing the same thing every single day.
Right. And
But
unfortunately, too, I think that it's a natural response, or not response, but a reaction when people see you. They're like, oh, there's Megan. I should ask how
How's
she's
Jack?
doing. How's Jack doing?
Yeah.
I think it's common courtesy, whatever you
Of
call
course.
it. What would you recommend for people who run into someone who's hurt, or like in your situation? Would you rather them say, like,
I think just
how are you
acknowledging...
doing? Or, I mean,
Yeah, acknowledging both. How's Jack? How are you holding up? Is there anything that, that I could help you with? And I'm not trying to change the scenario to, like, what about me?
no, but
But-
but no, it is so valid though. It is
It
so
was just,
valid.
it was a lot. And like you have said before, when there's a tragedy or something happens, you find out who your real friends are, because there was no meal train. There was no, GoFundMe account. There was no, hey, let's, there was one person, Emily, who came over and brought us a bag of groceries. And I know Leslie was in on that too, but it's
Yeah.
like, that's two people out of how many people that we know.
Justin
So
and Alyssa came by.
yeah. So yeah, any familiar face that came by was helpful, because you were in that room and I'm doing everything. So really the only person you have contact with is me. So seeing any face really helped more than
Right.
they even probably thought that they were.
Right.
So
I mean, I do remember the one time that Justin and Alyssa came by, and I was so stoked to see them.
yeah.
So that definitely made me feel good.
So one other thing that I think was the hardest was, from you moving from the wheelchair to the walker to the crutches, however that progressed. It was nice to see you getting up off the bed. And in my eyes, of course, that's you getting better. So like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. He's finally getting out. But then I think that's when we realized that RSD was hitting in, and even though you're getting up and you're doing things, it's kind of like a mind trip, because you're thinking he's getting better, but then you're realizing he still can't do the normal things
Yeah.
that you were ready for him to start doing, really.
Because we thought that from everything we were being led to believe, I was going to be better within 6 months. In 6 months, the burning and electrocuting pain, that should all go away. They said that's just normal nerve damage, and the nerves heal. It takes a while. They said after 6 months, you should notice a difference. After a year, it should be gone pretty much. But yeah, after 6 months, it was strong as ever. And I think I felt it more than in the beginning, because the rest of the injury was kind of starting to heal. So that was definitely a bittersweet moment in our life. Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough, because you looked fine.
Yeah.
You looked fine. You were, getting up and moving around, but yet for some reason you weren't able to do much. And that was hard for me to accept and come to terms with, and mentally get prepared for what our life was going to be like.
Right.
But,
Yeah. I just thought of a funny story I want you to tell.
oh my God, what?
Do you remember the time it was raining and I
Oh
was
my God.
in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
Tell that story.
Okay, so he had finally graduated into going into the wheelchair, and that was a pretty big deal. And he hadn't seen daylight in so long.
I was pale white.
Pale.
I went to my work, and the owner looked at me and he was like, "You need to get some sun, boy, because you're
Yeah.
white as a ghost."
So I was telling Jack, we're going to go to the park. We're going to walk the dog. I'll push you in the wheelchair. It's going to be great. You need some freaking vitamin D on that skin. So it was such a process to get Jack to the car with the dog, getting him down our tiny little hallway in the wheelchair to the car, breaking down the wheelchair, putting it in the car, getting the dog in the car without his leg being in too much pain. So every bump in the road kind of hurt.
Horrible.
So we finally get to the dog park, and there's like a little route that you can take that's paved
It's
sidewalk.
a kind of big park.
Yeah.
So.
So as soon as we get there, I've got to unload the wheelchair, which I'm making it sound like it's a big deal. And I know that the other people have it so much more with, but for me, this was all new. It was such a process. And like your timing, it really takes so much time. So getting the wheelchair set up, getting Jack in the wheelchair, getting the dog with the leash, and we're finally on the freaking walkway, and it starts to rain. And I'm like, no, we're doing this.
I was
we're
miserable.
Doing this.
I'm like, let's go home.
So,
I'm hating this.
No, it's going to happen. I packed the car. We're doing this.
I'm like, this is not fun.
So we're like walking along, and I'm trying to hold the dog, and she's got power on, she's a Rottweiler German Shepherd. So she's trying to pull the wheelchair going so fast.
And she was young, so she wanted to go.
And finally, I mean, Jack was just like, this isn't fun anymore. So we had to pack up and leave. But I'm like, no, we're doing it.
Hey, all you out there understand why I wouldn't want to do it. So
and in the long run, I think it's good to like push you.
Hey,
I know.
No, me and Alan were just talking about that. You haven't watched that episode yet, so so I just called her out.
I know.
But when you watch it, you're gonna see that's like a lot of what we talked about was pushing yourself, and just you're pushing yourself enough to just to feel the pain, but not too much to hurt yourself, and that way you're always staying. You're never degrading. You're never declining in your health. And it made a funny story too, I think. So we can't really complain too much about it now, can we?
Yeah. So it was good.
Thanks for that story.
Yeah.
All right. So when did you start to see things were turning for the better? When did you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak?
I think the moment that you were able to like actually get out and walk around on your cane, and I mean, obviously you still had pain, but just being able to get a little bit of independence back and not have to
carry a bunch of hardware and equipment and
exactly, just being able to walk out with your cane was huge. And I started to feel like, okay, it's finally going to start getting somewhat back to normal, which our life will never be back to normal completely. But I do feel like seeing you being able to walk was like huge. I mean, once we realized that you had RSD, it was like you kind of hit a wall for a minute and trying to find the right situation to help with your pain, kind of slowed things down. But I feel like once we met the right doctor and understood what we were going through, which takes time, and it's so difficult when you don't have the support of a doctor that knows what you're dealing with. It's huge. So I feel like
very huge.
I saw the light at the end of the tunnel years ago, but I feel like this year has been.
This year, yeah, it's
been a good year.
I feel like, in the beginning it was rough because there was a lot of family and friends that were passing away and some having heart attacks and strokes. So this year was very difficult in the beginning. It really was for all my family and a lot of friends. However, I'm not going to lie, guys, like since I've started this YouTube channel, it's given me so much positivity. It's given me tons of distraction, as we keep talking about. And I feel like this has made my life turn around. Like it's therapy for me. It feels good talking to all of you out there who have it, because connecting with each other really makes a difference. And I encourage all of you, if you're just new to the community, or if you're new to RSD and looking for an outlet, or looking for something to do, looking for someone to talk to, join a support group.
Totally.
Join forums out there, talk to people, just become a socialite, even if you don't want to be, or you're not, because disability makes you become a recluse. It makes you become a hermit. Do it online because, hey, you're behind a computer. No one's really going to be able to judge you face to face, or You know what I mean? So just get yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
meet people, and talk. I'm telling
I
you.
think making the first step is probably the hardest, is stepping out of your comfort zone. But once you do, it makes a huge difference. It's so worth it. So
Yeah.
if you're that spouse, there you go to do the extra push.
And support helps, because without her support, I would have no confidence anymore. Like I felt like RSD broke me as a man, and she kept the confidence up in me. So, support, keep that support up, because that'll keep them going.
Honey.
What advice would you give to any spouses, partners, boyfriend, girlfriends, or even a family member that has a loved one that's newly disabled? What advice would you give them for all over, like for themselves and for dealing with the disability that their loved one has?
I think my main piece of advice, and it's going to sound so cliche, but you seriously have to take one day at a time. I think
That's
if
a
you
good
look
one.
at the whole picture and you start thinking of your whole life changing and what I can't do and what's going to prevent me from doing, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to, go into panic mode, really. So if you just take one day at a time and get through that day and realize that you can get through this, when you have the right support, you're going to get through it. You got to be patient. Nothing is going to get better overnight. As fast as your life can change, getting it back to normal is not going to be fast. Acceptance, accept that your life changed and my life changed.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that, because I'd much rather have a changed life with you than not having you at all. So you got to count your blessings one day at a time and be patient and understand.
That's good. I like that. So, a question that goes kind of along with that. So, you're dealing with it one day at a time. I like that because that's, I look at RSD is a life sentence. We know this. The rest of my life, I'm going to have RSD, most likely. That's a big picture to look at, and it's a hard one to look at. So I don't. I just look at today, and, maybe I look at tomorrow. But, I try not to look at the big picture of it all, because that's too much, and anyone will get overwhelmed with that.
Definitely.
So I'm just curious on your end, how, if you're going to deal with the day-to-day, what do you do today then? How do you get through today? Because today's a rough one, say. Say, because I know, guys, this happens out there. I've been hearing about it. The person who's disabled is in a lot of pain. They're grumpy and just having a bad day. So they tend to sometimes take their frustrations out on their loved one or their spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. What do you do in that situation? Like, how would you deal with it? Is there a certain response you would give to the spouse, or would you need to step away and take a breather?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that when situations like that happen, it's not we definitely bicker and we definitely have our fights, and it's hard when you are the person taking on all of that frustration. You take that out on the person that you love the most, because they're going to be there and forgive you. But in that moment, it's hard and it's frustrating, and it's like, well, I'm here to help you. Why are you taking it out on me?
Right.
And then I get frustrated, and then I'm going to take it out on you. But I think maybe in that moment, just separating and calming down and realizing that, hey, we're a team. We need to get through this together. This was an accident.
Communicate. Yeah.
But I think when you're in that moment and you're butting heads, it's best. I mean, for us at least, sometimes separating and calming down and then revisit that situation.
Right. Yeah, definitely it's not good to take your pain and frustration out on your partner, because it's not fair to them. So,
But it's going to happen.
yeah, and I'm
I
not
mean-
saying I'm perfect, and I'm not saying I'm innocent, I'm sure I've done it. But I'm just saying, if if you are kind of having that moment where you're screaming at them or you're upset but you don't really have a reason to be so angry at them, take a minute, think about it, take a breather, step away. So, yeah, good job.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today, guys. We are going to be doing more episodes, though, with Megan on here. I mean, if you guys want her to come on, so you need to let us know by hitting that like button down below. And if you are interested in her coming on again, give us some questions in the comments below. Let us know what you want to know about relationships, couples who have, one of us who are disabled. Let us know the questions. Give us the nitty gritty. I might be able to get her to be a little more comfortable and open with asking some of the more personal questions. I don't know. I'm surprised I got her on camera.
Oh my God.
So this is her debut. So let us know what you guys think. And we're always open to comments and questions. So please remember to like and subscribe, guys. And as always, we'll see you next time. Peace.
So seeing those familiar faces